Hi, this is Empower and Thrive. Come along with me as we walk into town and we talk about the first few things that you need to think about, even as you may be thinking about beginning to plan your relocation journey back to Africa. I'm going to specifically talk about Uganda today, but I think generally speaking, this is going to work for many countries that you'd want to go back to, for those of you who are from Africa and in the diaspora, and from any country that you have located to. I'm working from East Hill in Kent, Dartford area specifically, and just continue to take in the beautiful views even as we talk. I think one of the first things that we really need to be thinking about is our own family circumstances, our own personal circumstances when you're abroad. Thinking about whether you've got children, whether they are young, in school, whether they've grown up and flown the nest. And again, I'm going to stop here and also talk about whether your children have special needs and how this can also be take quite a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, and a lot of thought before you even consider relocation. Mainly because relocation back to Africa from abroad may pose quite a few changes and challenges as well. If your children are in school and they're still of school age and you've got to probably in the United Kingdom or whichever country they are and you're not paying school fees, for instance, so you find that the financial aspect of that is slashed quite heavily. And then put in the fact that if they are special need, that is, they're still also going to some really relatively good schools here in the United Kingdom, for instance. And there's a lot of services for them in the United Kingdom that they can fall back on. Services, of course, such as therapists, speech therapists in schools, psychiatric doctors, and so many other things that or services that they have that they may actually miss out on while they are or when they go back perhaps to an African country. And that's not to say that these services aren't there, but they're far and few between. And when they are there, you've got to pay a lot more for them. Whereas if they're here and they're in a school, for instance, many of those services will fall under the school, and some of the services will also come under the National Health Service. So, taking that into account and those things into account regarding your family, the next thing is to actually take into account your financial situation. How are you coping in the country that you're in? Are you financially comfortable and able to meet all your needs before you can even put money aside and actually have something to say, okay, this is what I have left and this is what I can use it towards? Is it a house that you need to build? Is it a land that you need to buy and build a house on? What areas are you looking to move to back in your country? Are you looking to stay off grid? Are you looking to stay in residential areas that are packed full of people? Again, this will develop. These plans will develop in your mind even as you start to think about it and look at your family circumstances. I talk from somebody who, by God's grace, is beginning to gradually put things down um, back in my home country in Uganda. And I'm finding that traveling back home from time to time has opened my mind about the possibilities. And then looking at my family circumstances, which is a relatively ongoing thing because I need to put in the mix the family dynamics that I have got. For instance, I have special needs person in the family, and as a family, we need to think about um, how this is going to impact, how this could play financially. For now, the young people are still in school, the younger ones, and the older ones are independent, uh, pretty much finish higher education or continue with higher education and have got jobs or careers they're working on, should I say. So those young people, older ones, could probably take care of themselves. So you need to look at your family circumstances. The next thing you've got to actually look at is what you are planning to put down to survive on. How are you going to actually financially cope? Are you going to be okay leaving a career that you have in the United Kingdom? Are you going to be okay um, to stop the work you're doing? Are you able to work and get the equivalent of what you're comfortable with or enough to live on in Africa? So these are some of the questions that one would begin to ask themselves. If you've got something in plan, perhaps you've got a business that's up and running, or you're planning to put back down a business while you're still here, for instance. Or maybe you begin to think about working online and finding ways of bringing in an income that you believe you'll be okay with. Then those are beginning points to actually think about. The next thing, and I think this is the biggest one, which probably would be the first on the list, and perhaps I could have spoken about it as first in the list, is actually the mindset. Mindset is going to be the biggest thing that would either make or break one's decision and ability and capability to actually move back to their own country from the West. That is if you want to. That is if you're thinking about it. That is if you have a huge connection or a strong connection to your country. I have been in the United Kingdom for very long now, and out of all the family, it has always been me who has been nudging the other party to actually make that move to go back. But I think we probably weren't ready at the time. We didn't have enough in place. I wanted my children to have their first few years growing up in my home country. So I used to travel with them back and forth. And I remember one time I went with my first three children, and we stayed for about 2 months before they started school. So that gave them a mini grounding. However, we have not been able to go back for very long now. And I'm beginning to think about it and think, okay, they're older now, they're working, they're getting curious, and they've agreed to actually travel home. So it's time to begin that process of trying to re-expose them to the home country. The mindset is one which you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about what exactly it is that you actually want. How is your mindset? How are you feeling about your future? How do you feel when you go home? Uh, Psychologically, emotionally, physically. I'm very passionate about Africa, despite the fact that I'm living here in the UK. Um, and I've tried, and I go home at least once every year if I can make it. If I could go twice, I would happily go twice. We are all still work in progress, and by God's grace, we'll get to that point where we can say, I'm going to be able to go more often. I'm going to be able to take my children more often, or my young people who are now grown up children. And make that transition to actually have a connection back to the homeland. Because for many of us, whether we admit it or not, I think when we go home, we really see huge differences in our well-being, in how we feel, in how we connect to people, and we realize that we're actually missing out quite a lot. We are missing out connections. We are missing getting to know relatives. We are missing how the countries are developing, and we even feel like we are missing out on opportunities. But at the same time, the heart has got to be where you are, and we can't be in one place, in one country, and then be constantly feeling like we should be somewhere else. And I've come to that place where home is where I am. Where I am at any given time is where God has put me, and I accept that, and I work on what I have in front of me. I work on what God has given me, and I develop everything and anything I can at any given time where I am. If I'm in the United Kingdom working, then I'll make the most of the work that I'm doing. I'll take opportunities as they can, as they arrive, and as I can, should I say. And when I travel and when I go abroad or I go to Africa, I will take opportunities as they come and arise. So that's the mentality I'm talking about. And again, going home and actually having the right mentality while you are actually there visiting as well. Beginning to understand that things may not always be the way you left them. Things have changed significantly. And you could even say that people have changed. You could even say the crime rate has increased, for instance. You could say life is more costly. You could say so many things. But you have to go out and pick out the positives when you're there. This is how I feel about the current mindset. This is how I feel about putting plans down before actually making that transition, because you don't want to just get up and go. People have been known to get up and just go. And within months, they say, oh, I have X amount of money, so I can go. They go, they buy a car, they perhaps start renting. And before you know it, the cost of living has skyrocketed. They haven't got a solid plan and no major income. And, and before you know it, they're coming back again. And I'm not judging anybody, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it, but I think there's a process. And the process does not have to be expensive. If we put in our minds it is too much money to go back, then honestly speaking, we may not go, or it might take years and years and years. But when you begin to put plans down and seek God, He begins to, you know, uh, put plans in your heart. You begin to get ideas, and then you begin to get ideas and move into how you could actually put things down gradually with small amounts of money that you get here and there, or large amounts of money that you get here and there, for that matter, depending on the circumstance. So that is that. It is a gradual process, and it starts with a small to make things big. It starts with a plan, it starts with an idea, it starts with a vision. So at this point, I hope that this video has helped somebody, and I'd like to hear your views about how you envision planning to go back, if at all you are, how you feel about your life in the UK. Are you able to vision yourself going back? How you have plans to go back? Have you made it? Have you gone back? How are things going? It's not just about my opinion. I'd like to hear your opinions and interact. So at this point, I had come into town and I had entered, I believe this is Poundland, and I was beginning to just look for stationery. This is Tasties, the African food shop in Dartford, and I just wanted to pick up a snack because by that time I was quite hungry. And through the park, walking back home, this is the local Dartford Park, very beautiful Darrenth River running through town and through the park. This was a very busy day and very sunny day. And I hope you have enjoyed coming along with me and having a chat about this topic that many of us think about. Many of us think about it. Many of us do something about it. And for many of us, maybe it just remains a thought. But I pray that if it is something that is indeed in your heart and is something you'd like to do, I think where there's a will, there's a way. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. God bless you.